Hello, my name is John Sveck. Welcome to this ALL24 video. Today, Coach Waterman and I are once again joined by guest coach Tommy Denison, who is the offensive coordinator of York University. Thanks for being with us again, Coach.
Yeah, really excited to talk about supporting the install today.
Awesome. So we're going to get a little more in-depth look into this play from part one. So again, I'll give you the floor here, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, it's really important when we install a play that we don't just, for us, run it and then expect our kids to be really great at it immediately. So again, we want to talk about what the play is again today, and the play is an over-under concept. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to release our back to the flat. So let's talk a little bit about all the intricacies of the play. So the tailback's going to free release, and he's going to release basically 2x2 off of the field side tackle. And he's going to push to the flat from 0 yards up until about 2 yards. So really no depth at all. We're just trying to get it out to him immediately. Our two receivers to the outside of that tailback are both going to outside release the number 2 and the number 1 receivers respectively. Number 2, as you can see diagrammed as Jay today, he has the ability, and we expect him to wrap him behind the field half should that field half trigger down to try and take away the back, because that's a typical answer that we see. They see us hurt them with the back a couple times, and that field half will trigger down, have active eyes in the backfield. So we'll wrap behind him. On the other side of the field, we have our Y and our W doing what we call a spike release. So Y is going to basically release on his own, and he's going to go first, but the W is going to create almost a mini bunch, and he's going to come close to the Y. But really, it's important that we attack downhill on this, because if we just kind of walk into it or do the American motion where we come across the line of scrimmage, that gives the half the ability to tighten down as well, and it makes it really easy for the boundary half and the will linebacker to banjo responsibilities. So we want to come attacking downhill at them and force them to defend vertical, so it's a lot more difficult for them to banjo. And then on the outside, we've got a 14 to 16 yard dig. Our two inside crossers, the W is going to run at 4 to 6 yards, and he does not have an option to bang. We run him through. But the Y does have an opportunity to sit soft, and drills that we'll do to support that. But he's at 10 to 12 yards. The quarterback's read on this is the Sam linebacker, so that's why we've got him with the triangle on there. If the Sam chases the tailback aggressively and doesn't give up leverage, and let's be clear about what that means to us, because I know there's a lot of young coaches that may be listening to this looking for some opportunity to run this. We don't just think that means like getting ahead of him. That also means putting himself into a position to make a tackle within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. So, hard chase, turn shoulders, aggressively pursuing, right? So our eyes go directly to the Sam, and if we see that, if we feel him attacking the tailback, we now get our eyes directly on the MAC linebacker, and we're high-lowing him. So if he sinks to get underneath the deep dig, we take the shallow cross, and if he attacks the shallow cross, we'll throw the deep dig. And it's that simple. We're creating a 2-on-1 opportunity for ourselves in 2 positions. So how many reps do we run it? So it's a new week, and we've got an opportunity to install a play. What does this look like for us? So day 1, we've got basically 3 days of full practice. So in a full practice, we've got inside run or team run. Sometimes we'll run. We've got Skelly, and then of course team. So we try and run this 3 times inside of Skelly on day 1. We'll try and run it 3 times in team on day 1, anything that we install new. And we typically only run like 1 or 2 new plays in a week. We try and minimize it because it's a lot for our kids to learn, even at our level, right? With film study, film review, we want to set them up for success, and we don't want them scrambling for answers or not sure about what it is we're running. And then maybe twice inside of team run on day 1, we'll get that too. So we've actually used some of our team run on day 1 to get up to 8 reps of this play. Day 2 is a little different. So we've reduced it to 2 plays of Skelly. We've reduced it to 2 plays of team, and we've no longer used team run as a function to run this. Now, just because this is a screen pass option that attacks the box, that's why we're using team run. I want to be clear, we're not using team run for any other pass play, only if it attacks box. Then finally on day 3, we're down to 2 plays of Skelly, 1 play of team, and we're really focusing on all the other plays that are already in our DNA at this point, making sure that if a team comes against us that, and runs something that may not be in their DNA, something that's new to them, that we have answers inside of our DNA that support any new problem. We don't want to coach against ghosts, but what we want to do is run plays that we could use to attack things that we haven't seen on film on that day. So going back to our overall call sheet, the 13 to 15 plays that we may have in on any given week. So again, are these reps enough? No, they absolutely aren't. Like, I mean, when you look at it, we're at 8, 10, 12, 15 plays throughout the course of the week. It's just not enough. So we have to find ways to support our players in this. So these are the drills that we run to support the players, to give them additional opportunities. And there's so much that can be said now about load management. And our strength and conditioning coach at York, she's fantastic. And she's really, she preaches load management and understanding how to make sure that our players are ready for Saturday, Sam Frame. And so we've worked very closely to understand that. And we want to support it the best that we can. So you'll notice there's a lot of tail end drills that support our players' legs. We're not just running go routes. We're not doing those things. We really want to make sure that when Saturday comes, they're ready to run. So the quarterback drops, we'll focus on gun +1 and reset, as well as the running back push in pre-practice. So in this case, these reps may not be full speed, and they may be an opportunity to get the running back a little bit more loose. He's already stretched. He's done a few things on his own, but now he's just kind of continuing to get ready for practice. And this is an opportunity for our quarterback to work drops while loosening his arm. It's not a throw that's going to put a lot of velocity on. So it's not going to put a lot of stress on his arm at this point, so he can work this in this period of time. The rest of the drills that we've drawn up for you to show how they would work, quarterback's drops we'll focus on in the video portion to talk a little bit more about it and how we can support it pre-practice. And the running back push, you'll see it over and over and over again. So we'll talk a little bit more about that there. The rest of these drills we're going to talk about one by one with some diagrams, starting with the multi-quarterback reads, the tail end drills, what we do with our offensive line, and how we support our receivers. So the first drill is a multi-quarterback read with tail enders. So what we basically do is we put two quarterbacks up, and they're both reading half of the field. So this gives us an opportunity to have two quarterbacks throwing. We just focus on the tail ender of the drill. So anything that you can basically see drawn up here that is dotted is not going to be run full speed. We just run from the point that it's a straight line. You can see we've got the Z out there to demonstrate, but we don't actually run that route inside of this drill. It's really just two receivers and one defender that we're reading off of here. So you would get the J and the T reading off the H, and the Q is throwing on the other side to the Y and the W reading off the MAC. So basically they start at the top, the quarterback takes a gun snap and then reads off the 2-on-1. We're just basically creating a quick 2-on-1 fast break. So the quarterback's getting in the habit of obviously catch, rock, step, throw, or then reset, throw. And our receivers are feeling what it's like to read off the backer and sit soft off the backer up top. Same with the receivers to the field. So the J would be working on, if that H triggers, how do I wrap and what does that feel like? So not necessarily, obviously going at full speed, but near full speed, just understanding that we're using the top of the route. The next drill, it's very similar, except now we've only got one quarterback, and we've incorporated the full read inside of a tail ender. So again, the quarterback takes a gun drop, and we'll read off the Sam linebacker. Should the Sam chase, as you can see right here, we're now high-lowing off the MAC. If the Sam doesn't chase, we try and pitch and catch to the tailback in the flat. Obviously, if the H triggers down, we're going to wrap right in behind and throw. So we've gone from step one, where we're just reading a 2-on-1 fast break, to now incorporating the full read for the quarterback to really get to feel comfortable. So where I would say the first drill is really for everybody, this drill is going to be a little slower in tempo, but it's more focused on the quarterback. And we're really going to use this film in our quarterback meetings to help him understand the read and what things are looking like for him. The next one is like, how do we focus on the O-line? And I know that this one looks really, really busy, but recognizing that it can't be that busy. So we're 3-man slide and we're focusing on the MAC linebacker. Because they're not in a cover zero demeanor, and if they were, we would completely change how we attack. But because they're not in a cover zero demeanor, we know that if they bring the Will or the Sam, they have to replace that vacated field zone with the MAC. So our center and guard are going to read the MAC. And just like we teach our quarterback, where basically if it gets cloudy from the outside, go outside. So for instance, on that play where we're throwing to the back and that H trigger, the field half triggers, we tell the quarterback, we don't tell him to read Sam to field half, we tell him to read the Sam. And if it gets cloudy from the outside, go outside. Well, it's the same thing that we teach our center in this play. If the MAC vacates to the boundary, follow your eyes to the boundary and pick up the will. If the MAC vacates to the field, follow your eyes to the field and pick up the Sam. If inside of those steps, nobody has presented and they've only rushed 4, we now clasp back on and we go for the kill shot off the nose to the boundary or the nose to the field, wherever he is. So we incorporate that double team, and we're looking for a pancake opportunity in this particular case. So those are things, obviously we don't look for pancakes in practice, but this is just a really great active eyes drill for our center and our O-line to feel, right? Because obviously if the MAC attacks B, the center works to nose and our guard picks up the MAC. Like, those are things that we incorporate on a day-to-day basis. And again, we can run this in a high tempo opportunity, or we can run this with low tempo as well, depending on the day, depending on the opponent. And we can do that in practice. So then we focus on how do we support the receivers. So the first drill that we focus with the receivers is we do it in walkthrough period, or even pre-practice. And we really go slow in the spike release. So again, we talked about this on the full field concept, but the Y goes first, the W tightens to the Y, okay? And he attacks downhill so that we ensure that the boundary half and the wheel can't banjo as easily. It's not to say that they won't be able to do it, but we're trying to make it as difficult on them as possible. So as we're attacking downhill, again, we start with a walkthrough, like literally walking through to see what it looks like and feels like, so they can get comfortable with the distance from each other, as well as who's going over, who's coming under, what that will feel like. Then we do it in walkthrough where we start off 50%, move to 75%, and then we're doing it at the end of our walkthrough period. We're running it on a scout look at almost full speed, obviously no blocking, but it gives us an opportunity to really feel like what it's going to feel like when we get into the competitive periods. The next drill that we work on is, just because there's so much speed cutting going on for our receivers, we just work on supporting their speed cutting needs. So for us right now, we've got a quarterback with a center, and we try as much as possible, any drill where our quarterbacks are throwing, set them up with centers. They're going to take so many gun snaps. Let's get them taking those gun snaps. Let's improve their hands. One of the best quarterbacks we've had for active hands was Caleb Scott in the AUS. And, I just watched the way he prepared himself on a day-to-day basis, and it was always taking gun snaps, always working ball, hand drills. So we've really incorporated that based on the way Caleb approached the game. And this was an opportunity to do that. So again, taking quick gun snaps, working speed cuts, only working 5-yard stems on this, coming out of the break quick, only working 5 yards, again, keeping our receivers not really working hard, but working smart, right? 5 yards maximum, load coming in and out of the break, but we're not asking them to take off 25 yards downfield after, or work 10 yards into the stem. And then the final drill is, for our receivers who may have to sit soft, is, again, we have 3 linebackers across, we have a quarterback set up, and we're just looking for a window to throw into. So the backers will drop, and they have multiple lanes that they can drop into, and they get direction from a coach behind the quarterback, and they'll work, and the receiver will come and he'll find an area to sit soft. And once he's caught the ball, he'll explode for 5 yards. We're not looking for a lot of effort after, but we're looking for maximum for 5 yards, giving them that opportunity to feel, okay, this is what it's like to sit soft in a drill, catch the ball, and immediately explode. So those are the drills that we work to support a play like this, over-under concept, that gives us the ability to go right from the very beginning, work on every skill that we're going to use on the play to support it. So by the time that we get to the game, hopefully we have a chance to be successful.
How many times during the season do you kind of come back to some of these drills? How often do you use them, given the other plays that you're using?
It depends on the week, Coach. If we've got a heavy install week, we're going to gear all of our drills to the new install. If we don't have a heavy install week, and most weeks we're not that heavy on install, we're going to gear our drills to the things that we need corrections on from the previous week that are carrying over, and also from the previous practice. So if we had a Tuesday practice, a day 1 practice for us, and we struggled with some of these drills, or on film some of the drills that would actually be run in the play. If we're not translating that, we'll spend more time on those drills the next day. So I guess it really depends on the week, how much we're carrying over and what the emphasis needs to be. We really want to focus on the things that we need improvement on and the things that will give us the best chance for success that Saturday.